Good afternoon. This session will try to give some basic understanding about the Korean game market with some stats and core trend and the factors to helping your game publishing in Korean market. Okay, as you know, the Asian market around 72% of the global market. Within the Asia and Pacific market, its size is around the 72 billion market, and Korea is number third market with 62 billion. Is kind of the 88%, 6% of the Asia Pacific market size. Within the top countries, Korea is number 4 with 49 million internet population and 51 million total population. So when you count out top 20 companies by game revenue, there are 3 main game players, and number 12 Nexon, number 14 is Netmobile, and number 17 is Nsoft. This is a recent top 30 grossing games in Google market. The market games are all RPG games. It's around 18 games. So it means it's very highly skewed to the RPG-oriented market. This is a kind of around 2.5 years history of Lineage M. This is the number 1 the RPG game in Korean market. As you can see, the accumulated revenue is around 2 billion, with around 520,000 installation. ARP MAU is around in Korean 167,000 Korean won. This is trying to showing out what is the portion of the China game publishing in Korean market. Around 7 games launched in top 30. It's comparing to the last year a little bit same trend. The last year's same period, around 8 games within top 30. Without China game and global publishing like Supercell, all those are top players. So it means no mid to small size local players are not in the top 30 market. It's very tough market in Korea. This is kind of the numbers showing out what is the total revenue. So all total revenue is around so far is 6 months, 2.3 billion, 2019. It's around a 19% increase compared to the last year. And the monthly revenue around $300 million US dollar. Is comparing to the last year almost same trend. There is the very outstanding game player markets. Number 1 is Google. They takes around 75% of the market share. And then Apple and OneStory. OneStory is the local players. Recently, OneStory is a little bit bigger than Apple, with 13 or 15% of the market share. This is kind of showing out what is the daily revenue. Around 13 million US dollar is the making every day. This is kind of showing up what is the general revenue, the stream of the top and top 3, top 10, and top 50, top 100. When you say the right bottom side from top to number 10, they take care of 50% of the market shares. It's a huge, very top player-oriented market. This is the app distribution by revenue range. So like $1 million is within top. It's around 62 apps they make is $1 million. And then 0.32 million is around 142 apps they make this size of the revenue. This is kind of showing what is the revenue stream between Google Market and App Store and One Store. You can see that as the big players and the middle-sized players are skewed to the Google Market. The Apple and One Store, they are more oriented to the very small-sized one. This is a kind of proportion of genre and revenue contribution. As you can see that the role-playing games, their share of portion is around 20%, but in terms of revenue is 62%. And then still like simulation and puzzle is not much big market in Korea. Every month in Korea, there is around 700 new games are published. Within the 1,700, only around 12 games are within top 100. It's very hard to new games are making success in Korean market. Even 12 games, 10 games are RPG, and only 2 games are outside of the RPG genre. This is the market share by publisher. As I said, like NCSoft and Netmarble and Nexon, they take a majority, and some Chinese games take some shares of market. This is the 2019 June top publisher ranking. So number 1 is NC, number 2 is Netmarble, number 3 is Nexon. So top 3 N companies take the majority of the market share, and the other ones is some global publisher and China companies. This chart showing off some kind of how many players playing those kind of games. Like Bronze Stars Supercell, daily users around 810,000 players playing. When they're listing up as a number 1 games. And Clash Royale is around 400,000 players. So you can see right side, you can just to average daily users by games in Korean market. So puzzle is around 380,000 players daily. RPG is around a little bit smaller number of players are playing daily. Next one is the key factors. So as we quick through about some stats of a Korean market, we can say that revenue polarization is getting prominent between the major 3 companies, Netmarble, NC, and Nexon. They take a majority, and small one is very weak in Korea. And then very IP power is prominent, so still they have very popular. while Chinese title keeps staying as a mainstream, but at the same time, Japan IP game is getting popular. Recently, some new trend is the character gathering type RPG. So you just keep spending money for gathering new characters or new items. That is a kind of new trend of the RPG games. So those games are big hit right now. Game market is getting tough. So a lot of major players try to publishing very high and graphic quality games with some new the battleground or the battle system and with the IPs. That's why with this trend, small and medium to small game developers, they are trying to very different type of actions, like a visual novel game or multi-ending, or sometimes they're trying to do interactive games. And then even though it's a little bit difficult to making games, but still the like a strategy genre is showing up very steady revenue stream. So they're trying to publishing or making a game for the new revenue stream. And then the Korean market is too tough. So that's why it's mid to small size game players, they're trying to going out to global market with one build. As any other country doing so, esports is showing up some very great potential in Korea market. So like a Battleground and Fortnite and local RPG games. Next one is I'm just a quick through about what is the typical type of the marketing execution. This is a very typical type. People launching, they do some kind of pre-registration system with some kind of display ad and non-display ad. After launching, they do some kind of cable TV advertising and movie and some influencer marketing. This is showing up some kind of people launching some type of the typical marketing execution. I'm not going through about the specific the media or any other display ad media. Just you just refer to the just kind of typical what kind of typical marketing execution is working on in Korean market. Oh, this is the after launching that. This is kind of not exactly matching to the exact number, but you can get some kind of idea about what is the cost of the CPI comparing to any other country. So you can assume that what is the difference between any other country for CPI execution. This is non-CPI. So basically, RPG is $2.8 in Korea. So, and then average eCPM is around $7.6 in Korea. Okay, this is it. Thank you.
So we do have time for questions. Huh?
Too much numbers.
Yeah, it's a lot of data to digest as well, like a lot of details. Do you guys want to ask questions? You're all so silent. When you're talking about the data in Korea, I know the Korean developers nowadays are trying to explore a lot about K-pop and about storytelling games. Do you think that it's going to have more connection to cultural aspects that are more exportable when it's talking about Korean game developers? Do you understand what I asked?
Yeah, well, I understand. Recently, the very big Korean pop idols, the Netmarble, they launched games. It's very hugely impacting Korean market. But even though it's a lot of the Southeastern Asia, they love the Korean culture in the pop song or the opera. But as a game side, even in Korea, is kind of new try. So, but anyways, at the very first tier, this kind of game launching big hit, I think so. Mid to small size game developers, they trying to similar trying. Therefore, maybe that will be the next new revenue stream. Absolutely.
It might be able to get users that were not interested in games before and would go for that market afterwards. So it's an interesting aspect of it. Yes.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you. You mentioned the RPG games where you collect heroes. Can you elaborate your description of these titles, which you said like the new trend of these? There's a new trend of such titles where you collect heroes in RPG games.
Yes, that is a very still the RPG is prominent in Korean market, but in the minor streams, they keep the trend is changing. Sometimes the action, sometimes just kind of battle or PvP, but still PvP is prominent. But it's just buying items for like weapon, armor, whatever. But this time is a little bit more changing to the keep gacha system, so they gathering the new characters. Each character has a different type of the stats and ability. So when they gathering all the characters, they can play any other specific theme or dungeon they play in the battle for, or sometimes they clearing up some kind of each stages. So that's the recent trend, because those kind of the character gathering RPG is make people spend more monies.